Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Late Night Snacks. This is episode number 2, and I just feel I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I just I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, I feel devastated. I'm so speechless with what I'm going to be talking about tonight. Oh, and before we get, a match between Elias and Solo Sikoa. And I think Solo Sikoa won that street fight. And they also had a match for the Raw Women's Championship between Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss last night on Monday Night Raw. So, and also, hold on one second. Sorry, I just keep getting up and down because I always get confused from time to time. So, yeah, last night, Monday Night Raw, they had the Raw Women's Championship match between Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss. And also that Memphis street fight between Solo Sikoa of the Brotherhood and Elias, and the main event between Seth Rollins and Austin Theory for the WWE US Championship, which Theory retained. So, but back to Monday Night Football because just my heart breaks for Damar Hamlin, who plays for the Buffalo Bills. At last night's game between the Bills and the Buffalo Bills and and also the hold on, let me fix the camera one more time. There we go. And also between the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals. And during the first minutes of the game, when the first quarter started, Damar Hamlin collapsed on the field and went into cardiac arrest. So it was heartbreaking for Damar Hamlin. It's giving me anxiety. Let's see here. No, let's see here. Yeah, that was heartbreaking of what I just heard on the news, and also what I saw last night on Monday Night Football on ABC between the Bengals and the Bills. So, and my heart and prayers go to Damar Hamlin's family and well-wishers after his cardiac arrest. So, hold on. There we go. So, it's heartbreaking of what he went through. It really is heartbreaking. So, and also, it's really, really heartbreaking. Okay, enough with the sappy news. Let's switch gears now. Today is Tuesday, January the 3rd, and I recently went to day program today over at Capo Care. We just started the new building today, and it's right behind where Dunkin' Donuts is over in it's right behind Dunkin' Donuts over in Stanhope, New Jersey, because they had to move from the old building to the new building. And I actually like the new building better than the old one because it's a lot nicer and the rooms are smaller so we can get more space from the other clients. So it's a nice little shake. It's a nice little shake up as we start the new year, kickstart the new year. And yeah, well, and I've been going to day program ever since, let's see here. Hold on. Ever since we started going to Capo Care, so, okay, so, and we went to the old building from June of 2020. I went to the old building from June of last year until this last month when we had the Christmas party, and that was when I still had the mask on, and then it was sucked because and then I tested positive once again for COVID when I got back, and I was not happy. I was fucking pissed because I know I like to be out and about. I like to have my normal routine. It's just not fair for me because of so much that I've been going through lately. It just sucks. Life, I know life can suck badly, and just sometimes life can just not be fair at all. Just one thing to the next. When we go from the passing of Barbara Walters, who was a longtime ABC News anchor, to what happened to Damar Hamlin at last night's game between the Bengals and the Bills. Just one heartbreaking news to the next. It's just, I can't do this anymore. My heart continues to break for a lot of heartbreaking news, especially with Friday's 2-year anniversary of the January 6th coming up. It's just always one thing to the next. And I'm sick and tired of this bullshit that's going on lately. I'm just sick and tired of this one bullshit thing to the next. And I'm sick of it. Absolutely sick of it. I can't go on like this. I just can't, especially with the camera especially with the camera just giving me anxiety. Okay, but I'm just gonna have to, okay, so, just, I can't do this anymore. The new year just started, and already, and we just have one heartbreaking news, which is a football player going into cardiac arrest, and just breaks my heart. And I'm just sick of heartbreaking news that is going on in the world lately, even since the COVID pandemic started back in 2020. Hold on, I gotta pull up my pants. And also, because I am sick and tired of this heartbreaking news that is going on in the world lately, like COVID and from COVID to January 6th. I'm just sick and tired of all of this bullshit news and heartbreaking news that is going on lately. I just can't fucking do this anymore. I can't. Just sickens me, saddens me. One bullshit thing to the next and one heartbreaking thing to the next. And I'm sick and tired of every fucking minute of it. Just, my heart breaks. It's shattered into a million pieces. I can't do this anymore. I can't. And this is giving me anxiety with my phone going from hold on. Just one thing to the next. One fucking thing to the next. And I'm sorry about the foul language that I've been using lately, because I'm just sick of one bad news to the next and one sad news to the next. Even though bad and sad both rhyme, I'm just sick and tired of it every fucking day. And I'm sorry about the foul language, but I can't fucking do this anymore. I can't fucking do this anymore. I'm sorry. Just, my heart breaks for Damar Hamlin, who suffered cardiac arrest last night at last night's football game between the Bills and the Bengals. And I wish him a speedy recovery. And after that, once he recovers, he's going to live the best life and the best career of any NFL player, past or present, like Eli Manning of the New York Giants, Tom Brady of the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and even guys like Deion Sanders or Odell Beckham Jr., who used to play for the New York Giants, and even Saquon Barkley, who also currently plays for the New York Giants, and also Daniel Jones. Rob Gronkowski, or Gronk for short. They're all NFL greats. And I've been watching NFL for a long time. And Gesundheit. Yeah, well, one of my housemates just sneezed and I said Gesundheit. So, and Gesundheit is actually German for bless you. And every time when somebody sneezes, and speaking of which, did you know when I was a little baby, I used to, every time when either of my parents or my grandparents, sadly all four of them are deceased, would say Gesundheit, I used to laugh every time when I was a little baby, every time when they said Gesundheit, which is German, for bless you. So, and I used to laugh at that when I was a baby. And I've been saying that ever since to when every time when someone sneezes, I always say Gesundheit. Did you all know that? So, and one of my housemates just sneezed, so, and I say either bless you or Gesundheit for good manners. But like I said about this heartbreaking news that's going on, my heart, I'm sick, and I'm just with one sappy bullshit that's going on. I'm just sick and tired of everything going on, from COVID to January 6th to a famous person or a celebrity passing away. I'm just sick and tired of one heartbreaking news to the next. Just saddens me. My heart breaks, and I just can't go on like this. I just can't. So, and I like good news. So not bad news or heartbreaking news like COVID and January 6th. None of that. Sorry about that, but it's just the way it goes. I'm sorry, but that's how it goes. I'm just sick, and also don't forget when and also the Yankees getting screwed once again by the Houston Astros in the ALCS. I am pissed off when the Yankees got swept badly by Houston. Trust me, and I am furious with that. Just like in 2017 and 2018 when the Red Sox beat the Yankees in the ALDS and then went on to win the World Series against the Los Angeles Dodgers. I am fucking pissed in 2017, 2018, and this year in 2022 when the Yankees were once again screwed by the Astros. They're screwed. It's like the Montreal screw job all over again with, in the WWE, back when it was called WWF, Survivor Series 1997 event. Remember that match between Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart? And then they had that match for the WWE. Then it was called WWF Championship because it was called WWF back then. It's now called WWE and has been since 2002. They have that one match between Bret the Hitman and the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels. And when Shawn Michaels had Bret Hart locked into the sharpshooter, Earl Hebner called the end of the match and then awarded Shawn Michaels with the WWF Championship. Well, it was called WWF back then. It's now called WWE and has been since 2002. And then after the match, after Bret Hart got it backed up to his feet, he went up by the ringside and then he spit Vince McMahon right in the face. And I remember that. And then after that, Bret Hart left WWF for WCW. And that was back when WCW was still good, at least until they changed the logo into a shitty one. So, and although, and I think, I think Bret Hart was still good when he was in WCW, just like when he was in WWE, back in the 90s until, so. But like I said, the Astros, back to the Yankees and the Astros. The Yankees screwing the Astros, the Yankees getting screwed like the Astros is like baseball's own version of the Montreal screw job between Shawn Michaels and Bret the Hitman Hart. And I remember that. So, and that was back when I didn't watch wrestling until the following year because, when I was only 9 years old, that was the first time when I started watching wrestling. So, and that was back when WWE was during the Attitude Era, and that was during the war between Mankind and The Rock. And also that was back when Goldberg was still undefeated in WCW, and the NWO was still living at large. And I remember that. So, those were the good old days of wrestling. But back to baseball for a sec, because when the Houston Astros once again screwed the New York Yankees out of the World Series, just like what they did in 2017 and 2019, I was fucking pissed. And worse, they got away with it, just like what they did in 2017. And I'm done with this bullshit that's going on. I'm just done with this bullshit. Okay, gotta breathe. Okay, so I just had to take some deep breaths because of with every bullshit story that's going on from COVID to January 6th, and also sad heartbreaking news like what happened I mean with this with the bullshit news like from COVID to January 6th to the Yankees getting screwed by the Astros in last year's ALCS and then the Astros winning the World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies, even though I wanted the Phillies to win. But like I said, I have no comments for the Houston Astros. No, I have nothing to say to them. Nothing. Just like in 2017 and just like the Red Sox in 2018. So, okay, and I hope the Yankees finally get to go to the World Series later this year for the first time since 2009 because the Astros keep screwing their chances of the Yankees going to their first World Series since 2009. And, back in 2009, I was still in high school back then. And that was the year before I started to get ready before my senior year started. So, in 2009, well, I was still in high school back then. It was a good year back then. But, kind of, but still. But back then it was still a good year for me because I was still in high school back then. That was during a really good old day. And I graduated high school back in 2011. So as I mentioned in last night's episode of Late Night Snacks, I mentioned that there was a guy who I went to high school with. He used to host his own radio show on WSRX 107.9 in Vernon, New Jersey. His real name is Kevin. And he went by Cato during Play It Loud, which is the radio show he hosted every Friday night from January 2019 until January 2021. Well, and I used to listen to it every Friday night, and I think they did repeats on Tuesday nights at the same time, which is 5 p.m. The repeats of the same episode that aired on that Friday night. So, and I remember it, and I was disappointed when the show was canceled in January of 2021, which is 2 years ago, and back when we were still living with COVID. And I remember that was back when we were only allowed to leave the house on Wednesdays only because that was during the second wave of COVID. And unlike the first wave back when we had to stay home at all times, well, we still went out, but we only went on one day, with the exception of when we had the Super Bowl one time. But I forgot who played at the Super Bowl one time, and I think that was when The Weeknd performed, which was Blinding Lights, and I remember that as well. Because, that was back when we were still vigilant, because that was back when vaccines were getting made in in early 2021, because, that year, that marked the 10-year anniversary of my high school graduation, but it was still a tough-ass year because we were still living with COVID, and then later on in the year, we had the Delta variant. It was just tough as nails. Now, just giving me anxiety, but I'm going to have to figure out how to keep my phone on when I do tomorrow night's episode. So I have to figure that all out. So, and in case anyone wants to ask me questions, write in the comment section below before I sign off for the night and I get ready to go to bed for the night, because tomorrow I have to go to the church and help out at the food pantry over at the Vernon United Methodist Church, which I usually do on Wednesdays. And back before the COVID shit started, I used to help out on Fridays. I used to do on Friday mornings. I used to get up early, and that was before COVID started. Me and my mom would go down to the laundromat oh, actually, first we'd go to Dunkin' Donuts and grab a coffee. And then we go down to the laundromat and do laundry there because I think our washer and dryer froze or stopped working or failed. And then my mom would take me to the church so I can help out there on Fridays. And that was until COVID shut everything down, kept so many people inside, and killed a lot of people. It was dark, but I made it through COVID. And just like almost last month, I made it through when I tested positive for the first time. I actually made it also. And as you know, my symptoms were pretty mild. I just had a cough, sore throat. I was fatigued. Well, and I also had a little diarrhea. And also, I think I had trouble sleeping also when I was positive for COVID-19. Because, that day when I tested positive, well, later on, I had to go to church. And by the time I got back to church, they had to do the staff at my group home did a nasal swab test. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I just had to turn off that arcade machine, that little tabletop arcade machine that I got for Christmas just recently, which is Pac-Man, and I wanted to show it off before I had to start with my opening topic for tonight on late night snacks. So this is episode number 2, and in case anyone wants to ask me questions, even though it's not Friday yet, and usually I do Q&A every Friday night, which will, starting this Friday, which will mark the 2-year anniversary of the January 6th insurrection. So in case anyone wants to ask me questions, write in the comment section below. So, and even though it's not Friday yet, and usually Fridays is Q&A night, so, oh man, I gotta get a haircut soon. Okay, so, and also today I went to the new building for day program, and it's almost like the old building. Well, it's a lot different than the old building was. They even have a little billiards table, and I actually played some billiards there. It was cool though. And we also went to Dunkin' Donuts and grabbed the coffee there. It was good. It gave me a little boost, especially for tonight's edition of Late Night Snacks. And even though I'm just saddened by the news of Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills after going through his cardiac arrest, it's heartbreaking of what he went through. And also what the Buffalo Bills went through and the entire NFL. So, and and I was watching that last night on Monday Night Football on ABC, and I think they also aired it on ESPN. Just really heartbreaking of what the Bills went through, of what Damar Hamlin went through. It's just tough. It really is tough. And heartbreaking too. And I'm just, with one bad news to the next or one depressing news to the next, I'm just sick and tired of what's going on lately. I'm just sick and tired of this heartbreaking news that is going on lately. Just breaks my heart. Even though I've been going through enough pain lately, because I just lost my mom last year. Well, soon to be last year. This coming April will mark the 1-year anniversary since my mom passed away. And since then, my life has changed forever. And because of all the changes that when my mom passed away, I had to go through a lot of changes, such as moving out of my old house and into a group home. It's been tough. It really has been tough. So, but I'm strong like Superman, because tonight I'm wearing the autism awareness shirt with the Superman symbol. Because Superman is my favorite superhero of all time. Even if it's Marvel or DC, well, Superman is DC. So, and also, did you know today? Well, let's let's stop the depressing news today. And I want to talk about, did you know this morning when I was watching Tune In With Me on Me TV, that 1 hour program on Me TV that airs cartoons from the golden age of animation like Popeye, Pink Panther, Tom and Jerry, and Looney Tunes. They have this one Merry Melodies cartoon called Farm Frogs, and it's a Merry Melodies cartoon. And did you know one time, um, when I when I was discharged from the hospital, I actually surprisingly I recorded an episode of Pee Wee's Playhouse. And because I like retro stuff, I like retro shit, and I actually somehow, ironically, I recorded one episode of Pee Wee's Playhouse, and they showed a classic Merry Melodies cartoon called Farm Frolics, which aired on Tune In With Me today, and they actually showed some farm animals doing crazy stints in the cartoon. Yeah, it's a classic Merry Melodies cartoon from Warner Brothers, and yeah, it aired on Tune In With Me this morning, and I watched the whole thing like I did when I watched it on an episode of Pee Wee's Playhouse, when I somehow recorded Pee Wee's Playhouse on TV after when I was discharged from the hospital back in 2019, just 1 year before COVID shut everything down and ruined 2020 and 2021. And yeah, well, that's one of the good news stories of today. So, and Gesundheit. Yeah, well, somebody I think just sneezed. Either it was one of my housemates or the staff who's doing the overnight tonight. So, and also, and my thoughts and prayers go to the Buffalo Bills' own Damar Hamlin, and I hope we wish him a speedy recovery and him to get back on the field soon, just in time to get ready for postseason, even though the Super Bowl is around the corner, and the NFL playoffs are around the corner too. So my thoughts go directly to Damar Hamlin of the Buffalo Bills. We wish him a fast, speedy recovery, and just my heart breaks. I'm just heartbroken tonight as it is, especially with from one sad news to the next, and one bad news to the next, like from COVID to January 6th, everything. Just sick and tired of it. I'm just so fatigued right now because I'm just of how upset I am with what happened on Monday Night Football last night with Damar Hamlin. Just, I can't do this anymore. With one heartbreaking news to the next, this has got to stop. I mean it. I'm serious about it. This sad news, one thing from the next, has got to stop. And during last night's game, and the players were in tears, coaches were in tears, and even fans were in tears when they saw Damar Hamlin pass out on the field during the first few minutes of the game. Just heartbreaking. It's tearing me up, and it's breaking and I can't describe how broken my heart is. It's shattered into a million pieces, and it's very hard for the pieces to pick up. So fatigued I am, and that's where I might have to wrap things up for tonight with too much heartbreak, too much anxiety going on. Just, I can't do this. So, and that's where I'm going to have to stop things for tonight on Late Night Snacks. Can't wait for episode 3 tomorrow, and that's where I'm going to be in a much better place. So, I'm going to sign off for the night. Just fatigued, tired, and too much anxiety with all the heartbreaking news that's going on. So, I guess we'll see you all next time. So, I'll see you tomorrow night for episode number 3. So, well, this is Matt McNally signing off for the night.